me. My name's Liz Elam and I'm principal at Abbey College in Manchester. A very hot Manchester day, welcome. So the aim of today is to give an overview of Abbey College Manchester, to give you a flavour of what we do and what we are. And so we're going to start by just looking briefly at the history of the college. Now, Abbey College Manchester opened in 1990, so we are celebrating our 30th anniversary this September. I actually started at the college myself in 1999, so I have worked here for 21 years, a very long time. The college's history really started around as an A-level retake college. So it started with about 40, 50 students who were retaking their A-levels to get into competitive courses like medicine and dentistry, veterinary science, pharmacy, and so on. And so that kind of core history still comes through today in the sense that a lot of our students do come to us to get into competitive courses. Now, we've obviously a much larger college in a different location in the city centre to when we started. We now have around 220 students. We have a lot of different courses on offer, and we have a mixture of domestic, home students and international students in the college. We've recently expanded the building to take in more of the basement, and we have 7 floors, even though our building, which is pictured behind me, looks quite small. It is really a TARDIS inside. So moving forward then, I've mentioned the 30-year history of the college, and we've designed our special logo for that to incorporate a representation of the Manchester Bee, because we're proud to be in Manchester. We love the city and we love being in the heart of Manchester, and that is very important to us. Not only does that give us a wonderful place for a resource for us to find lots of things we can do around the city centre, but also it allows students to travel in from quite a variety of locations to the college because we're central. So what are our key messages? What makes Abbey College Manchester? So we are a city centre college, and we believe that we provide an excellent stepping stone to university for students in the sixth form, because we are adding that extra layer of responsibility of travelling in, and we are a sixth form college. We're not a school as such, we are a college, and that gives a different feeling. We have excellent teachers and they support their students in reaching potential. They're very understanding, very caring. They make the lessons individual, and they want students. We have first name terms in the college, so students feel they can talk to their teachers. Quite a few of our students are a little bit older than the age group traditionally for a year group. We have many 17 or 18 years olds in year 12, for example, and that can be for a variety of reasons, and we don't have the constraints that some schools do on the age range. We are small and welcoming, and what I would say is that when you join Abbey College Manchester, you're joining our family. You're joining our Abbey College family. Now, we are part of a group. Our other sister colleges in Cambridge and London are larger, and we are the smallest of the 3 colleges. But we like to say you join your Abbey College family. We have small classes, a maximum of 12, which again allows for that care and attention that students need, that chance to answer all those questions, ask a bit more, find out more. Really, really important for us, the small class sizes. Now, we actually also have a sort of overarching kind of framework that we use called the 5 R's. And I did a presentation about this the other day, but I will just give you a brief kind of overview. So the 5 R's are linked to the things that we think, are important in terms of the framework and the structure to structure academic studies. So we have the notion of routine, we have the notion of rigour, we have the notion of responsibility and resilience and reflection. And we use this very much to allow us to be able to, framework learning. We have an innovative curriculum. We've got lots of different courses on offer, and we give a lot of expert guidance in terms of university applications and support. you know, the most important thing for most students that come to us is that they want to go on to university. They want to go on to a course of their choice. And that is really important. And we need to work with students in order to be able to establish that they can go to university of choice. Now, as we are in the city centre, we have a whole range of buildings, of activities at our disposal. So we are near the town hall, we're near the central library, we have excellent transport routes into the college, and that allows us to be able to facilitate people coming from a wider direction to the college. We obviously will later talk about our academic studies with football programme and basketball, which adds depth. But, you know, Manchester is a sporting city, and that does attract a lot of people to the college. Now, moving on to the college facilities, I noticed on the chat someone said, do people know the word TARDIS? So yes, that means that from the outside it looks quite small, but on the inside it is large. Yeah, this is showing a few photographs inside the college. As you can see, it's very modern. And we have the basement area, the study area, we have our photography suite and other specialist rooms that you can see pictured there. We've got 5 science labs, and this allows us to facilitate all the practical subjects, art, photography, science, alongside the more traditional academic subjects. So we, you know, we're very proud to be able to have this space in the city centre, and that allows for us to deliver our innovative curriculum. Now, we also have our college nurse as well, who is on site all the time, and that actually, you know, gives us a nice support for the students alongside our teaching staff, our pastoral staff. We run a house system with heads of house and tutors. Now, as you are aware, we are also an international boarding school, and our boarding facility is actually a 15-minute walk from the college. So I'm going to pass over to my colleague Chris Randall now, who is Assistant Principal Pastoral and Boarding, and he's going to talk a little bit about Riverside House and the boarding and our kind of local and global college. So I'll pass over. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Liz. We've just had another question there. Should we replace the picture of the town hall with Old Trafford? No. In a short word, Old Trafford's not in Manchester, but that's a different matter. Riverside House isn't in Manchester either. It's technically in Salford, which, as Liz said, is just a 15-minute walk away from college. Now, one of my roles is I look after the boarding, and Liz has been here for 21 years, and I've just been here for 1 year. And this is the 3rd boarding school that I've worked in. And I can honestly say that the boarding here at Abbey College Manchester is the best I've ever seen in any boarding school. One of the reasons for that is because it is university accommodation. We rent 2 floors of Riverside House, and the quality of the accommodation is absolutely fantastic. The bedrooms are divided into flats. And in each flat there's either 4 or 6 or 7 students. Each student has their own individual study bedroom, so nobody has to share a bedroom with anybody else, which is really nice. Each bedroom has its own bathroom. They've got a nice big bed, a study space, wardrobes, and then each flat has a big living area, communal area, with a kitchen where the students can cook for themselves, where they can kind of chill out amongst themselves, have a chat, watch TV, play Xbox, whatever. And we also cook for the students. We have a fantastic chef who's called Esther, and she just joined us in January. She's a fabulous cook. She's ultimately from Nigeria, and when some of the Nigerian boys found this out, they begged her to cook jollof rice for them, which she gladly did. And all the food we provide is vegetarian, so it wasn't technically proper jollof rice because we don't do chicken. But one of Esther's main attributes is she is so open to feedback, and she's so willing to change the menu, adds things that the students want, and every week she's doing different things. Recently during lockdown, it was Ramadan, and at the end of Ramadan she made a nice big Eid cake for all those students who had been fasting, and we consider her part of the pastoral team. And as I say, the students absolutely love Esther, and she loves working with us. Obviously, there's high-speed internet, Wi-Fi access throughout the college building and throughout Riverside House, because obviously the students, a lot of them are a long way from home. We do have quite a number of UK students who choose to board with us because it's so much easier than travelling in every morning. Even we've had some this year who are from Yorkshire, 30, 40, 50 minutes away. But they made the decision to live in Riverside House because it removes the clutter, it removes the stress of commuting in, and it's a 15-minute walk or kind of 5 minutes Uber ride. Or what we're going to do from September is we are going to bus the students into college each morning. So as Liz kind of mentioned, we are an international boarding school, and we do have a lot of UK students. They choose to come to us for a whole raft of reasons. And one of the huge positives of being in an international school is you get to meet so many youngsters from all around the world, and it's a completely different experience to being in a UK school. I've worked in international schools now for 10 years, and UK students and international students get so much out of it. We currently have, it says 35 nationalities here. I think this year we got up to 42 nationalities. I interviewed a girl this week who she's dual nationality, and that would be an extra 2 nationalities. So we're looking at maybe 45 different nationalities here in the college in September, which, considering we've got a fairly small student body, is great because it brings so much interest, it brings so many ideas, it brings so many different cultures together, and everybody learns from one another. And of course, one of the beauties of having students from so many different countries is there's no bullying that you sometimes see in different settings, and one of the reasons there's no bullying is because there's no such thing as normal. Because we have students from 42 or so different countries, they all like different things, they all have different experiences, they all want different things, and nobody has to kind of try and change and fit in with anybody else. So this year, as it says here, I think we had about 220 students, 225 students, an average of 217. And as I said before, we have them from all over the Northwest, Yorkshire, Lancashire, Manchester, Cheshire, and some board, some travelling each day. And as Liz said, we have very small classes. The maximum class size is 12. But there are very few classes which actually have 12 students in them. And of course, what that means is the amount of individualized and individual support students get from teachers is just phenomenal compared to being in a much larger class. In an A-level class in a normal school, or in a larger sixth form college, you'd be looking at maybe 20, 25. To find yourself in a class of, let's say, 8 or 10, you have so much more time to spend with the teacher and asking the teacher questions. And similarly, the teacher has much more time to spend supporting each individual student. So the progress that students make with us on the whole is absolutely phenomenal. So, a quick overview here in terms of what we can then do in terms of support. And, as Liz said, we're all on first name terms. There is no uniform, there are no bells. So students are free to express themselves, they're free to be themselves. And of course, all of our teachers are experts in what they do. They are expert at teaching A-level. and giving that guidance to university. We'll talk a little bit about universities in one of the later slides, and it is definitely one of the huge plus points of being either a domestic or an international student here at Abbey College, Manchester. One more slide for me. So as well as the academic side of things, we have a big range of enrichment activities. We do enrichment on a Wednesday afternoon, and it's a nice opportunity for students to forget about their studies for a few hours and go and do something different. And on the slides here, there are kind of 6 examples of some of the various different activities that we have. We've also got a film club. What else? There are so many different things, and obviously we're not entirely sure the way things are going to work out in September in terms of social distancing, but we're already putting together a plan of online and virtual enrichment activities that all the staff are getting involved with. So it may involve some kind of virtual yoga, it may involve virtual watching movies and talking about in a book club. The list of possibilities is absolutely endless. So I am going to pass back to Liz now, and she is going to talk a little bit about the actual academics.
Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, so I'm back again. So what I want to talk about now are the different programs we have on offer in terms of the academic programs. We believe that we are innovative and flexible in the programs we offer. We have designed our programs to fit students rather than the students having to fit to the programs. Now, that means that we do have a number of flexibilities, and that also gives us the opportunity to tailor a program to individual need. So let's start with the program we offer for our younger students, GCSEs. Now, we do a GCSE course, and this is for year 11 students. Now, it is a unique program in the Manchester area because we, in 1 year, for a year 11 student, either transferring to our year 11 or to resit year 11, can take up to 5 or 6 subjects in 1 year. And that would be from the beginning to the end of the course. We will cover the whole of the GCSE in the 9-month period. Now, as a result of that, we have a relatively narrow range of subjects. We obviously have maths and English as the core, and then we have the sciences, or you can take more of a business, religious studies, art type route. So there's kind of several routes that you can take and combinations. But we believe that the notion of the 1 year resit or 1 year transfer is very, very useful. It's a very good stepping stone, either into our 6th form or for some students to go into other colleges beyond the GCSE. Now, that is for year 11 students, 15 plus, in terms of what our availability is. Now, if we move on to the kind of A-levels, which are obviously a core offering of the college. Now, A-levels are, as you know, a 2-year course, and they are the subjects we offer cover the maths, the sciences, some humanities, business, economics, art, photography, RS, psychology. So we have a good range of subjects, and they cover the most common combinations that people would want to study. And these subjects are taken over 2 years, as I've said, and you would choose 3 subjects to study at A-level. Alongside that, we run a Success in the 6th form program, which allows students to develop the skills they require. It allows students to get to grips with A-level study. You know, A-levels are difficult. There is no 2 ways about it. They are they're difficult to do. Academically, they're very stretching, and they have been made more difficult by the government over the last few years by going to the linear system, which means that the A-levels are taken, all the exams, at the end of 2 years, and there are no exams in between that count towards the final grade. So therefore, the requirements we have for A-level are that you must have at least 5 GCSE passes of grade 5 or above, and we would normally want that to include maths or English, although we do realise sometimes that scientists may need to retake English and people more humanities or arts-based may need to retake maths. So we would take that into consideration. But to study a subject at A-level, we would require a grade 6 as a minimum in the subject you want to take. And for mathematics, you would require a 7. That is because the knowledge you need in order to do A-level has already need to be in place for you. Now, I know that some of you, of course, who are just finishing or have just done your GCSEs actually haven't just done your GCSEs. You will be awarded centre assessed grades this summer. So you will feel that maybe you haven't been able to go into the exam room and do what you wanted to do because that chance was taken away from you. We also appreciate that there are people where there can be other circumstances, or there are some marginal, you're very close, or there's, you're a 5 in something, you've got 6s in other things you want to do. So we will always look at each individual case, but I want to reiterate that in order to do A-level, you do need to be at the right academic level, otherwise you will struggle. And that is why when we come on to our next slide, I can talk to you about our sort of alternative programs. But before we do that, let me just talk to you about A-level retakes. Now, I said at the very beginning that Abbey College Manchester started as a retake college, and students came to retake their A-levels to get into competitive courses at university. Now, this summer, yet again, as same for GCSE, A-level candidates will be awarded centre assessed grades by the exam boards. And those will therefore be their A-level grades they're going to take forward with them. Again, students will not have had the chance to actually sit the A-levels, and again, that may create frustrations. I think it's important to realise that whatever the centres have put to the exam board, there will also be a lot of statistical manipulation by the exam boards of those grades. So what the centres put in may not be the grades that come out from the exam boards. Now, for people just studying their A-levels who are concerned about their grades or their UCAS or getting into their universities, one thing I would say is I think the universities will be quite flexible this summer, so that is good news. But nevertheless, for the very competitive courses like medicine and dentistry, veterinary science, the competitive universities, they are still going to want the top grades, it is very likely. So we do offer A-level retake courses in the main subjects. The most common subjects are maths, biology, chemistry, occasionally business, occasionally economics, sometimes RS, sometimes psychology, sometimes physics. Those are the main subjects that people want to do at a resit. Now this year, because of the disruptions to the examinations, we feel that if anyone is going to resit their A-levels, they would probably be better joining our upper 6th class because they have not completed their upper 6th fully. Lockdown happens in the middle of March. That's a long time before the end of the course came along. So we will be looking at that programme, and again, this will be individual discussions based on what's best for you as a student if you're in that position for an A-level retake. I just want to emphasise A-level retake courses are only suitable for students who have taken A-levels before. Okay, so let's move on to another programme that we have on offer. Now, I've talked to you about A-levels, I've talked about the linear nature of A-levels and the difficulties they present. We have an alternative programme, a level 3 programme, that's the same equivalency as A-level, which we have written as a unique alternative to the traditional A-level. Now, the inspiration for this programme actually came from our International Foundation programme, which a lot of our international students study, either directly come to us to study, or study over 2 years, or study after they've done 1 year of A-level, where they find the A-level has given them a good basis, but the International Foundation programme would be better. And the idea behind the programme is that it is a modular programme, and you take units in the subjects that you choose. You choose 2 subjects. So for example, if you were going to do the engineering pathway, you might do physics with advanced maths. Or if it was chemical engineering, you might do chemistry and advanced maths. If you were going to do a business pathway, you might choose business and economics, or we have a double business strand. If you wanted to do a creative arts pathway, you could choose art and photography. There's a lot of combinations in the programme, but you choose 2 main subjects and then you do key skills alongside, which are things like ICT, research skills, university skills, math skills that support the programme. So for students who perhaps have more marginal A-level grades, what we might suggest to them is that you start and you try A-level. And if A-level's going really well, fantastic, carry on and do the A-levels. However, if they're looking to be a bit more risky, that's not working so well, in the second year, you could transfer into our Combined Studies programme. Now, our Combined Studies programme is accepted by a number of universities, not every university, but we have a good range of universities, including Keele, UCLan, Plymouth, Aston, Newcastle, Liverpool, John Moores, to name a few, Chester. We have a list of universities which accept the programme. Now, unlike A-level, which is an A star, A, B, C, D, E outcome, this is a percentage score outcome. So universities might be requiring 65%, 60%, 55%, 75%. It depends on the university and the course. So Newcastle, for example, for pharmacy would want 70% in the programme. That means that you are actually chasing a percentage score for yourself. You're not in competition with anyone else to get a grade. You're just trying to achieve that yourself. Now, because the programme is modular, we do exams in December, we do exams in March, and we do exams in June. And you can resit up to 2 units of the programme. Now, despite the pandemic and despite the closure of the college face-to-face, we have continued teaching every part of our Combined Studies and International Foundation programme to over 70 students. And this is the final week of assessments, which have all been done online. We have rewritten some of the assessment methods so that should there be any disruption again in the future, that we will be able to accommodate that, because we have already rehearsed, practiced and know exactly what we're doing with our own programme in that regard. Moving on to the next slide then, I think I probably have covered most of the content on the next slide, but it explains about the fact that you take the exams modular, December, March and June. Now, if you have got weaker GCSE grades and you really need to retake a few GCSEs, but you want to start some level 3 study, then we can also accept you on a 2-year Combined Studies programme where you might take some GCSE and some level 3. So you might do one subject at A-level to prepare the way, maybe business studies, maybe art, and then in the second year, you do the full programme. Again, this is the kind of thing that we can talk to each student about in discussion of what the best pathway forward is. So that is the academic programmes we offer. I'm now going to hand back over to Chris, because he's going to talk about our academic studies with full training. Now, just as a kind of note before we move forward, these programmes build on the same academic programmes that we have running, but also incorporate football, and also we have a basketball programme that's new online. So I'm going to turn my camera off again now and mute myself and hand back over to Chris. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Liz. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 2 pretty unique programmes that we also offer here in Manchester. One that we've offered for 2 years and one which is about to come online in January 2021. So the first one is the academic studies with football training, as you can see here. And it doesn't mean that you're going to end up playing for City, United, Blackburn Rovers, whoever. It's generally for boys and girls who enjoy playing football, who are good footballers, and who want to carry on playing lots of football. Maybe, maybe leading to something bigger. Or maybe just for keeping fit. And the way the football programme works is students are with us in college in the mornings, doing GCSEs or doing A-levels or doing the Combined Studies or the IFP. And then in the afternoons, they are with International House playing football. And Pete Hayes, who oversees the programme at International House, he's here on the webinar today. There he is. Hi, Pete. And he's here in case anybody has any specific questions that they'd like to ask about the football programme in a little while. So basically, any programme is possible to do with football. Now, obviously, because afternoons are spent training, then you can't necessarily do 6 GCSEs, you can't necessarily keep up 3 A-levels. But again, because we are so flexible, we can have those conversations, we can tailor the program. And a lot of the students, when they join us, they want to play football 5 days a week. And then they realize that actually training 5 days a week is a lot, and they drop down to 3 or 4. And those, it explains here, it tends to be in pathways. So it tends to be doing A-levels, it would be sciences, or it would be business and economics, rather than kind of a mixture. And again, we've got students who are doing GCSEs over 2 years with football. We've got some who are doing 1 year in football. And this year we have had somebody doing 3 A-levels and football, and he's a very good student, and it looks like he's going to come out with all A's, if not A stars, which is fantastic. So why play football? Why do football and studies? As it says here, the people, the trainers, what's the word I'm looking for? The coaches at International House all have a background within football. So we've got people who still currently work with Everton Football Club, with Liverpool Football Club, with Blackburn Rovers Football Club. They've got some ex-Premier League players in Frank Sinclair and Johnny Macken, who played for Chelsea and Manchester City respectively, who coach. So the boys and girls who do train with International House, they are getting a very, very, very professional level training from people who have played, coached at the highest level and still continue to do so. And again, the boys and girls, they play competitive matches, and there is post-match analysis of their performance. And then I think it's every term or twice term, they have showcase events where scouts from professional clubs come and watch them. And this year, Blackburn Rovers have asked one of our youngsters to go to one of their events, and Oldham Athletic have asked 2 of our youngsters to go along to their events. So that's pretty amazing. And as I say, we have just formed a partnership with the Manchester Giants Academy, and basketball training is coming online in January 2021, which is a really exciting development. And the basketball will run along very, very, very similar lines to the football program. So it will be academic lessons in college in the morning, and then basketball coaching, basketball training in the afternoons. Now, again, Jamie is a former professional basketball player. I don't think he's with us today. He played and he represented GB or England, as it says here. And he is, as well as being a basketball coach, he's a coach. He's a business coach. He's a lifestyle coach. And he is very well known in business circles. And going back to football, he coaches some very, very high profile footballers who you will all have heard of. So we're really, really excited about that. And to put a little bit of context into it, as I said, the football program has now been running for 2 years. In the first year, there were 4 boys on the program, and this year we had 22. So we're hoping that basketball will follow a similar route. We're hoping to start with more than 4 and build absolutely fantastic things, because Liz talked a little bit earlier about the 5 R's, and those are definitely things which carry over into sport. The boys who do the football program, we have seen a marked change in their attitude to their studies, because doing the training, they're getting that rigor, they're getting that routine, they're learning that resilience and reflection. And it's it's something that we really encourage, and we're really pleased with the way it's worked. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Liz now, and she's going to go through the final few slides.
Thank you, Chris. Hello again. So the final section that I'm going to move on to now is about destinations, university. Most students that come to us, as I said, have in their minds a university and a course that they want to go to. So we are experts on university advice. I have a team of people who are able to advise. We have close links with universities and they will help with making choices. It's really, really important. So basically, what we are looking at is how do we advise students on what they want to do at university. So people come with an idea, they come with what they'd like to do. Now, sometimes we need to manage that expectation. We need to say, well, this is where we're at, this is where we need to be. What do we need to do to get there? And, for some people, I know a lot of people come to the college and they do want to study medicine. And we have an excellent success rate of students getting into medical school, dental school, or related courses. It is very competitive. Only 7% of students who apply for medicine each year get into medical school. We have a much higher percentage than that. And what's really important is that we work together on the best program and the best course. GCSEs count, A-levels count. Combined studies program can get you onto a biomedical sciences course. That can then move you to, postgraduate medicine. So there's lots of ways forward. And for some people, it's more straightforward than others. And I think it is important to understand that we will always give our best advice on UCAS and the best way forward we believe for that individual. Some of our students have the ability to apply to Oxbridge, and we have a comprehensive preparation program for that. And again, there is actually another webinar that myself and Julian Davis at Abbey College, Cambridge have done about medical school preparation. So those of you interested in that could request the link to that webinar, but that's a whole presentation in itself. So what happens in terms of university preparation is that we have talks from universities, we have visits to universities, we do our success in the sixth form, we have webinars from universities, we actually even have some projects that we do with universities. We had a project we ran with Teesside University where we visited, we did a practical business and science collaboration, designing a wind farm and then marketing it. That is real hands-on stuff. We run a medical preparation program, and we also do all the practice for the medical applications like the MMIs, the multi-mini interviews, and so on. But you can see here, these are some of the universities we have particularly strong links with, and that links as well to the fact that they accept our combined studies program. But if you look at the next slide, you will see here as well the kind of preparations that we do for the medical and dental support. So in terms of what I've said already, you are looking at highly competitive courses. You do need excellent school results. You may need to do UCAT or the BMAT test. Again, we'll give you training support with that. Voluntary work experience, relevant, not easy at the moment, but if you go to Brighton and Sussex Medical School's website, they've got some virtual work experience that you can do on there, which is helpful at this current time. We prepare you for interview, we drill you, we do lots of practice interviews. Myself, the Director of Science, the Head of Biology, we'll drill you through the interviews. We do multi-mini interviews. This is a fun day when we have all the different stations around the college and we move around and do all the activities as you might expect. Our class of 2019 list, I think that just popped up there, that actually is quite impressive. So the universities listed here are the universities that students got in to study medicine. And you can see the range of universities there. We've got Imperial, we've got Aston, Bristol, Leeds, Leicester, UCLan, Sunderland. So a really good range of universities. Now, looking at our more general destinations on the next slide, you can see the universities that are popular with our students. And a lot of the Russell Group universities are popular, and you can see the list there. I'm not going to read them all out, but what you can see is that a lot of students do want to study actually in northern universities. You know, that is quite a strong trend. The students want to study at Manchester, they want to stay in the region once they are here, although others then want to go further afield, try a new part of the country, or go to London or somewhere else. What I always say to people is it's really important to go to a place when you want to study for university. Make sure it is where you want to be, especially if you're going for 3 or 4 years or 5 or more. So moving forward to the next slide, we've got destinations from our class of 2019, and then we move to our class of 2020 offers. And again, you can see that list very similar, the places our students have offers from this summer. Sadly, we weren't able to do our normal graduation because of the lockdown, but we're planning to do something later in the autumn term that will combine a graduation for our class of 2020 along with our 30th anniversary celebrations. So I just want to move forward now to talk to you about plans for September, because obviously things are going to be a little bit different in September. And the reason for that is that we obviously are gradually coming out of the lockdown. We are gradually moving to perhaps a new normal, a slightly different regime. We have spent a lot of time at the college planning how we're going to operate the college from September. The slide you just showed our entrance area. We actually have 2 entrances. We have the visitor entrance, which is actually in the photograph behind me, and we have the visitor entrance, which goes into the reception. So what I want to talk to you now about is how things are going to look in September, because this must be on your mind in a big way. How are we going to make sure that we have a safe college and that we deliver a high quality education? Those 2 things are absolutely at the heart of everything we want to do. And I've been having detailed discussions with the governors, with my senior team, with my teachers, with Alpha Plus Group about how we are going to open the college safely. And we're moving towards, I think, a very robust plan. So first of all, I'm appreciative of the fact that people will be travelling to and from college. I think we've already mentioned that for our Riverside students, they will be able to come in on the bus. We'll bring them in on a bus from Riverside to the college each morning. But some people may be coming in on public transport. So we've decided to start the college day later for the autumn term. We're going to start lessons at 9:40 with arrival from 9:30. We're then going to run our lessons through until 1:20. And that will be our face-to-face lessons. And at that point, there's an hour and 20 minutes for people to go home so that in the afternoon, they can join our remote lessons. And our remote lessons will be live. They will be with the teacher, but they will require you to have a laptop device in order to be on the Teams, which is what we use for our lessons. Now, we've been practicing this all summer because since lockdown happened, we have run the normal college timetable and we have run all the lessons according to that. Our teachers are highly experts now on actually delivering remote lessons and blended learning. And we can actually see some major benefits of this on top of what we thought it might be. We will never go back perhaps to exactly how we did things before. So the college day will be different. As I said, we will start at 9:30 with lessons starting at 9:40. We will finish at 1:20 with face-to-face lessons, and then we will do remote lessons in the afternoon. The wonderful thing about this is that if anyone is unable to come in the morning, if they're in a group of needing to be shielded or that you're not well, you could still join a lesson, actually join the face-to-face lesson remotely, which gives us total flexibility. Gives us total flexibility if any of our international students are delayed in arriving, and if our international students will be doing their quarantine when they do arrive, which is something we will be putting into place. So in the college itself, we're going to have a safe system. We're very lucky, we've got 2 sets of stairs, the front stairs and the back stairs. So we're going to have a one-way circulation around the college. And as you enter the college, there will be someone who will meet you, check everything's okay. There will be a thermal imaging camera to check temperature. Our college nurse will be there in case anyone's unwell. You will then proceed to your classrooms. The desks will all be distanced. They've all been set out to meter social distancing, and there will be wipes available to clean the desk. There will be wipes for keyboards and so on. We will be minimising practical work initially, so that to minimise sharing of equipment, but we will gradually develop that as the term progresses and as the government gives us more advice. At the end of college, when you've finished your lessons, you leave the college, you go home. The Riverside students will go home on a bus at 1:30. Now, what this means is that our student induction for academic induction for all students will run the 7th to the 11th of September. That will be for new students and our returning students, and that will all be done remotely on Teams. By the time you have enrolled in the college, you will get your login, your Abbey email address, and access to the full Microsoft Office suite through your Abbey College login. And you will be admitted to the college from the 1st of September so that you can get access. That means that you'll be able to join our student induction, which will be remote. And there will be activities every day that will be introducing you to your teachers, to your classes, to your houses, to your tutors, and will allow you to be set up for when you join the college on the 14th of September, which is when lessons will start face-to-face, or if you're continuing remotely for a short time or even for a part of the term. So that's going to be kind of, in a nutshell, how things are going to work. So if we move on to the next slide, I think again, it kind of summarizes on here the notion of face-to-face classes and remote classes and the fact that those can run concurrently. I will have 2 teachers on parallel groups so that that will all fit seamlessly together. Now, as with teaching, we've continued to be reporting on all our students. So each term you will get several progress or effort and grade reports. We have regular testing and assessments, and all those assessments will be counting towards your college exam grades and the progress that is being made there. Parents' evening, we obviously run that, and you have as a parent or a guardian, or even as an agent, if that's your role, you have access to head of house and to other members of the team to talk about any issues at any time. We are really we really think it's important that we work as a team. We always want to work in that triangle: the parents, the guardians, the students, and the teachers of the college and the other staff in the college. Now, in terms of the actual building within the sort of hygiene and so on in the college, we'll be doing much more frequent classroom, toilet, communal area cleaning. We'll have wall-mounted sanitizing stations. We already have those at the moment, but we'll have more, one on the ends of each corridors. We'll be having bins to put all the wipes in. There'll be PPE available. I mean, obviously anyone traveling on public transport will need to wear PPE. There'll be a disposal bin for that, or if you've got something that's washable, you can pop it in your own bag. You can put another PPE on. We're totally open to everything, because as I said at the beginning, we want everyone to be safe, and we want, that is the core message, as well as wanting to deliver high quality education. So I'm sure you may have more questions about that, which we'll happily answer. In terms of the sports, we will be running the sports activities in the afternoons in line with Football Association guidance and in line with Public Health England and in line with the DFE and government advice. And of course, there's lots of things that can be done with sport that don't necessarily need to be the full team sports. Just going to end on this quote here. Here's some of our students from last year. "The college is like my second family. It is small, personal, there for me all the time, and offers the support I need to achieve my dreams and aspirations." I hope that sums up for many people their experience at Abbey College, and certainly myself, working at college for 21 years, you don't stay somewhere as long if you don't love it. And many of my staff have worked at the college a long time. I have many new teachers as well, but one of my members of staff has actually been at the college 30 years since the college opened, which I think is quite impressive. So I'm going to say thank you very much for listening, and I'm going to hand over to John, because he's going to chair the Q&A session, and questions can be put to myself, to Chris, and also to Pete. So we'll turn our cameras and microphones on so that we can have those questions asked. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Chris, for a lovely session, really informative and interesting. And we have got a few questions that have come through, and my colleague Tori is also going to chip in with a few of the questions that you guys had put beforehand. Just to kind of come in with the question that we've been asked straight off the back of your presentation. Isabella's asked, with regarding to the boarding, is it flexible? So could you go home at weekends or potentially midweek?
Yes. Especially weekends, because as I said, this year we did have a number of students who are UK based, so who did want to go home at weekends, go and see their friends and family weekends, but during the week be with us and be focused without those distractions. I think in terms of is it flexible during the week? I don't think we've ever had anybody who's wanted to flexi-board and go home at weekends, because it's so much easier, a 15-minute walk or a 5-minute bus ride than going home by tram or train or bus or whatever. But we are flexible. We are open to maybe going down the flexi-boarding route, but certainly going home on a Friday evening after lessons, coming back on a Sunday evening, or maybe even coming straight into college on a Monday morning, that'll be absolutely no problem, Isabel. Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Just to add to that, obviously initially we're wanting to set up family units within the boarding because of the quarantine, because we will be putting that in place for boarders when they arrive. That doesn't mean they're going to be isolated on their own. They will be in their flat clusters and can make a family unit from the get-go. So we're going to just need to be a little bit tighter on that probably in the first half term. And then once everything is moving forward, then weekend leave is going to be much more easy. But as a general rule, that is something that we allow. In the current situation, we're going to have to be a little bit tighter on that to start with.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. We've just had from Ayadela, who's asked just for a bit more information on the vegetarian menus and the vegetarian diet that the school provides.
Yeah, no worries. So we don't cook any meat for cultural reasons, religious reasons, health and safety reasons. So all of the food that Esther cooks is vegetarian. Now, I guess some of you aren't in the UK and haven't been to the UK before, but there's something we have here which is called Quorn. All right, and it's a little bit like tofu, but tofu is made from bean curds, and Quorn ultimately is made from mushrooms or fungus. It doesn't taste or look anything like mushrooms or fungus. And the thing about Quorn is they, as in Quorn, the company, pretty much turn it into whatever you want it to be. So you can get Quorn chicken nuggets, you can get Quorn chicken steaks, you can get Quorn fish fillets, you can get Quorn minced beef or ground beef. And Esther uses a lot of Quorn, so she'll make a Quorn lasagna. She does Quorn fajitas, and then also uses vegetarian lasagna, so aubergines and courgettes and stuff. And of course, the students have fridges in their flats. They can cook for themselves. So, if you do want to cook chicken, if you do want to cook a burger, if you do want to cook fish, whatever it is, then you're more than welcome to do that in your own flat. But all the food that we provide has to be vegetarian. And it's as I said, it's a fantastic menu, which Esther changes the whole time. So if there's something in particular that you would like her to cook, just have a chat with her. And she will accommodate. She will change her menu for the following 2 or 3 week cycle or whatever it is.
Thank you, Chris. We just had another question just around the kind of the online lesson and maybe transition when the time allows. They've just asked, will we be moving to face-to-face lessons in the afternoons when circumstances allow? And have also just queried kind of how the sports program will run in conjunction with that.
Okay, so absolutely, yeah. I mean, our plan is to be fully face-to-face for January. We may then also change the college time day back to its normal 9 o'clock start, finish at 4:30. But, we're going to see how things run and we're going to see how things work. So, yes, that is our aim. But because we've got such a good facility in place and because we're so adept at running the remote lessons, we don't see this as a problem. In fact, what we've done is we've put an extra lesson per week per subject into GCSE and A-level courses in order to give them more time. Now, there's three reasons for that. The first reason is that remote lessons are slightly slower, okay? So you need a bit more time. The second reason for that is that we believe a lot of students who've been currently in year 10 and been currently in year 11 and currently in year 12 may have missed out on some of their tuition because of the lockdown. That isn't our students, but we feel students joining us may have done. So we want to give that extra time so that we can make sure we can get people up to speed with the courses and the level and the standard they need to be at. And the third reason is that we obviously want to avoid rush hours for traffic and so on. And that's one of the other reasons that we're kind of doing this approach. Now, I'm going to ask Pete to talk about how we're going to work the football, because what happens is the students are picked up from outside the college to go to the football, and Pete and International House are very happy to adapt to a slightly different change of time, and that we're going to finish a bit later at lunchtime than we did before. I will just add one thing about food. Riverside students and homestay students will all be given a packed lunch that they will bring with them to the college. So that means there's no issues around food, and if they've got football training, they'll be able to eat their lunch before they go to the football training, so they won't be going hungry. Thanks. Pete.
Hi there, I'm Pete. I'm the director of IHM Football Academy. And yes, as Liz says, we've been working hard also behind the scenes since March to put in place contingency plans and gain understanding as the FA, the English governing body of football, releases their guidelines. Now, some of you will have seen that the Premier League have pioneered the return to football, which is going well so far. And that has allowed, in line with the government, relaxations in the ability to train. So currently the guidelines state that groups of 5 players can train socially distanced, and we expect that to change and relax further as we move towards September. However, as with Abbey College, we've also got extensive contingency planning in place in the eventuality that we can't train as regularly or as rigorously as we thought. And of course, priority will be for safety, but we will be always making available the ability for players to maintain their fitness and their skills safely through any possible interruption.
Thank you, Pete. And I also, you know, you have been putting on online events, haven't you, for the students during the lockdown, and that showcase was really good. So the students were able to film themselves doing football, and then you posted that up on the website. And in fact, you had a little bit of interest about one of the players, didn't you, from a club as well. So, you know, I think it's important to emphasize, like Chris said, you know, you don't have to think you're going to be the next Ronaldo. You know, you're basically, what you're going to be doing is you can be good at football and enjoy it. But there are some people who are very good, and we do have some students that have played for their under 16 or under 18 teams in their home country. So, you know, I think what's really brilliant about the programme is it enriches the person, but there are development opportunities as well.
Absolutely. And as Liz outlined before, we take an integrated approach with Abbey College's 5 R's that goes across the board. And as with Abbey College, we want each student player to be the best that they can be. Now, sometimes that means that they attract the interest of scouts, of professional football clubs, and that's great. However, some players won't reach that level, but we need to just add a sensible caveat for players who are attracted attention of professional clubs. There are some restrictions in place within English football, and those are the FA regulations and the UK immigration policy, which does make it very difficult for a non-UK player to sign for a football club. So we, as always, have given equal priority to a player's performance on the pitch, but also in the classroom. And we must have a mind to the limitations of what can happen as regards professional football.
Thanks, Pete. And that reminds me as well that we have a new exciting project to launch in January, which is our sports strands on the Combined Studies Programme and International Foundation Programme. So we're going to be offering that as an 18-month programme for those students who wish to do a sports strand, which could be combined with business or could be combined with biology, or even a double sports strand. So we're in the process of writing that at the moment and getting that accredited to add to the suite of subjects that we have available. And again, I think that's really going to be an exciting development, which again, we're collaborating on.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Peter.
Sorry.
Dee Dee has asked just for some more information about the extracurricular programs. What kind of extracurricular classes and clubs do you guys run at the moment, and how does that work?
Well, at the moment, we run them on a Wednesday afternoon. But obviously, once we went into lockdown, a lot of them weren't physically possible. And we decided to focus more on the academic lessons during the lockdown because of all the massive change that took place. So we didn't run, other than the football, we didn't run the other enrichment activities. But we've been busily thinking about how we're going to do this from September, and we've probably got a longer list of ideas than we had from previous from previous times. But there's everything from the sports through to chess, through to the music. There's the practical green car, which is making a racing car. Some of these things are going to be they're going to be kind of have to be different initially to allow for the different delivery. But yeah, we respond to students' needs, and we have a lot of talented musicians, singers. We've got my mum actually runs a crafting class, Chrissy's Crafting Corner. She's been a volunteer for the last 6 years doing that, and they make patchwork, they do decoupage, they do all sorts of crafty things like that, which is great for manual dexterity for the dentists, and it's great just for sitting and chatting and developing language. All of these things add to the students' programme. And Lizzie Terry, who's head of senior boarding at Riverside House, she is developing a lot of team activities for the students to be able to play in their flat clusters, in their family units, so that they can have inter-flat competitions and so on. So no one's going to be bored, that's for sure.
Thank you, Liz. Sadaf has just asked about visa applications, how we support them and how we manage them. I think the message here really is obviously, we provide full visa support for international students who are looking to study with us. For September, for example, the options students have is to join us on campus as normal, if they are able to, but also they can begin their studies online and then join us at a pre-arranged time when it is allowed for them to do so. So we have a team of visa experts, and we work very closely with the UK VI. Obviously, the situation with regards to COVID and enrolment, the visa stipulations are changing, but we're on top of that, and we do have this kind of two-track approach where students can join us in person if possible, or online. So hopefully that answers your question on that, Sadaf. But if you do have any follow-up questions, please post them, and we'd be happy to put you in touch with our visa team. One question we've just had is from Saeed. He's asked if there's plans to add a cricket course in the future. So I know you have maybe potentially plans to add other sports as well. So I think maybe that's something for you guys to consider as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've not actually started the basketball yet, so it's something which could potentially come online alongside the basketball. And through the basketball, there are a couple of other sports that we are looking at. To be honest, cricket wasn't something we'd considered, but we are open to absolutely anything. If we could source a club, a team, a training facility which could offer the cricket, then absolutely, because the model is there in terms of the academic lessons in the morning, the training in the afternoon, and we could easily flip that on its head and do the training in the morning and the academic lessons in the afternoon. So whilst it's not something we have thought about, it's most definitely something that we could bring online if there was interest.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, so it's very, very presently pointed out that it's very popular in Southeast Asia and India. So yeah, we're always looking at innovating at Manchester. So maybe that's something we look to in the future. Anyone else wants to post any questions, please do live. I'm just going to throw over very quickly to my colleague Tori, just to ask if there are any questions that were posed before the session that we haven't covered, or anything that you wanted to put to the team, Tori.
Yeah, hi John. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions here. One of the questions I got was, in what circumstances would a student choose combined studies programme rather than A-levels?
Okay, so in summary, I think it would be for someone where their GCSEs were not as strong, and they could do the 2-year programme and revisit some GCSE and some level 3. The other reason for doing it might be if they have started A-level and that is not working for them, and so they switch across to the combined studies programme in year 2 and year 13, because it is a 1-year contained programme as well. The other circumstance could be if you've done your full A-levels and you've got quite low grades, rather than resitting A-level, you could do the combined studies programme. So I think there's sort of 3 possible avenues into it, and obviously it's the sort of thing we would discuss in detail at an interview. I always have a chat, possibly initially on the phone, and we can face-to-face or a Zoom meeting and these circumstances to talk about the best programme. And from the middle of August, people will be able to have face-to-face visits in the college, because we will be reopening the building at that point, and that will coincide with A-level and GCSE results days, and that's often when people are making decisions about moving forward. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, that's great. Thank you, Liz. And you've also answered one of the other questions I had about, is it possible to visit the college in the summer?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you know, obviously I'm not really outstanding outside the college, and neither's Chris. We have our virtual backgrounds up. You know, we can't wait to get the building open properly. You know, we're visiting it every week, my colleague Ian, and getting all the preparations done. So yes, we do have a virtual tour video of the college. It does look a little bit empty because we did do it after lockdown. If you would like a copy of the virtual tour, then please, we can get that attached, I'm sure. That John can put the link to that and the follow-up to the webinar.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. And then finally, obviously an important question is, how do potential students make an application?
Okay, so let's go down, we've got sort of 2 routes here really, haven't we? So for a home student, you can contact college, there's a link online, there is an application, you don't have to fill that in if you're a home student. Chris Naylor, he's my student services, he will get in contact with you, and then what we normally do is arrange to have a chat on the phone first with either myself or Chris. And then we will arrange a face-to-face interview, but we can do everything, you know, remotely at the moment anyway. You start the programme, you get an offer letter, and then you actually look at your offer letter, and then you can enrol. In terms of payments and so on, there is a registration fee, but that's paid in instalments, and we pay 9 instalments on the fees. If you're an international student, you need to fill in the international application form, and that goes to our International Admissions Centre. And that's dealt with by members of our team, and they have different regional managers, and they will liaise directly with you, or if you have agent with your agent. And then you need to upload various documents, and then you have an interview arranged with either myself, with Chris, or my colleague Ian, and you will then get an offer letter that normally will come to you within 24 hours, stating the programme agreed and so on and so forth, and any conditions, like if you need to do a UKVI IELTS test, or if there's any other documentation you need to see, to help you with the visa application and so on. So I hope that's a shortened version of quite a long process, but it is easy, and we are going to be available all summer for interviews. We've got a rotation worked out so that we can get back to you very swiftly.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much for that, Liz. So that's covered all the questions that we had sort of sent in beforehand. I don't know if anyone else has got any questions, if they quickly want to type them into the chat bar.
Thanks, Tori. I'm just keeping an eye on that. If anyone does want to post anything, I've posted a link to the virtual tour in the chat, guys. So if you do want to have a look at that, you can have a look there. We'll also send that to you in the follow-up email as well, so you can have a look around the college virtually. I can't see any other questions coming through. Obviously, when we send you, hang on, we have one question coming through. The advice from the question from Didi is just asking any advice from how students can prepare for A-level study, and he's mentioned from, or she's mentioned from a international student perspective.
I think you know, it's not easy. I think what you can do is recap in the subjects you want to do. Let's, for example, say if you wanted biology or chemistry or maths or something that you've been studying before, to the equivalent of GCSE, I think recapping the main themes and the main topics is important, so that you feel you know those, because in those subjects it will build on that. If you are wanting to study something like business or economics, then that's new to everybody, so you don't need prior knowledge. But of course, if you are coming from abroad and English is not your first language, then really working on your English is key. So reading, writing, listening to good, broadcasts and the BBC, reading good quality literature, newspapers, books. That's going to really, really prepare you, because obviously we deliver in English. And, language can often be the biggest barrier for an international student. So that would be my recommendation. And say if you want to study something like biology, then make sure you know the subject specialist words, because as we know, a subject like biology has its own vocabulary. Make sure you've got translations of those words so that it eases the transition through you. Obviously, the teacher will well aware of language issues, and for an international student, you will have IELTS or academic English classes running alongside your program until you get the required level. And that can be on all elements of IELTS, or it could focus on reading or writing, depending where your strengths and weaknesses lie.
Thank you, Liz. I don't think we have any more questions coming through, so I think we'll let you guys say goodbye and then we'll sign things off.
Well, bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to meet some of you in person or on a meeting soon. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we hope to see you here in Manchester shortly.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely afternoon or evening wherever you are. Bye-bye.